Good morning. Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. I am awake. I am on my way to work. Nothing more really can be asked of me at 8:57 on December 23rd. So let's talk about Hawkeye, the finale, the series. Well, it hasn't been formally picked up for season 2. I don't see why they wouldn't. Well, here's the thing. I see why they shouldn't, because it's obvious the show could have been a movie, and they could have just done this as a... even if they did it as a Disney Plus, 2-hour movie, it would have been doable, and we wouldn't have had that fucking nonsense all through the show. I feel like this was the least satisfying plot resolution of any of the Disney Plus shows so far. Where, I don't know how to put it really. It's it definitely was the least satisfying of them. Where WandaVision, we had the closure and we knew where we were going from here. Loki, we had the closure to the story. Not only we know where we were going from here, but there was also what's it called? The beginning of what's it called? The promise of a season 2. Here, it's Echo's getting her own show, but we spent the entire show following Kate Bishop, and I want to know where we're going with that. And it's by far the most interesting thing on this show has been the relationship between Kate and Yelena. And the most entertaining part, where the two of them are just it's seeing the two of them on screen. They have great chemistry. I hope we get more of that in the future. But I don't know. I like the way that they're in the elevator together, and Kate keeps trying to press the buttons to stop Yelena from getting to the floor where Hawkeye is. And Yelena just keeps pushing her back against the wall every time she tries something. Because Yelena just outclasses her in every way. It's really fun to watch and all of that. But here's the thing. I find it funny that Vincent D'Onofrio has to talk while he does sign language to Echo, because you can't get his speech pattern doesn't come across in sign language, but it does come across if he's talking, where it's that breathy, with the pauses and all of that. I feel the fight between Kate and Kingpin is great too. At the end of the episode, where he doesn't want to fight her because he's this is not something I want to deal with, so he's just throwing her aside. And it's not even he's just shoving her, he's literally picking her up and throwing her aside, leave me the fuck alone, I have things to do, stop bothering me, I have it's like dealing with a fly. And it's just, the sense of scale between the two is just so well done. And he just gets his ass kicked up and down that movie. In that what's it called? At the end of this, he just gets his ass kicked and blown up. And let's address the ending. The ending where he gets, presumably shot in the face. There was a way to do that as a post-credit tag and not do an entire musical rendition of the first Avengers movie for 5 minutes. But that was, I think, a bigger fuck you than Howard the Duck, or Tony Stark having a therapy session with Bruce Banner, or any other, or the shawarma scene, where it's here's, where are we going next for Echo's story? How are we going to sell you on Echo? Because here's the thing. Echo has kind of tied up the loose ends, and it's we know Hawkeye's not dead, because this comes from the comic, where it's Kingpin gets shot in the face, he fucks off to, not Porto Maltese, that's in DC, Madripoor or some bullshit like that. some bullshit fake country, and then he gets fixed, and he's blind temporarily, but that's fine. I don't think that necessarily they need to They need to do that. They could just say she didn't shoot him, and just ran off, which would be equally good. Because we don't see her shoot him. We don't see the body. If there's no body, they're not dead. And I think that they killed off fucking Kingpin after making such a grand, gesture about bringing him back in this way. And after bringing back Daredevil in No Way Home, I feel like that would leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. I feel, at least. It would bother me as a Daredevil fan. Let's see, what else have we got in this episode? I mean, the episode's largely forgettable. Also, that could partially be because I watched The Matrix Resurrections right after. And I feel like it's it just, the plot doesn't really get resolved. Because, it's not they're going to change anything going forward. It's going to be the same. Everything is still happening. Hawkeye gets home for Christmas. Cool, I guess. I wasn't rooting one way or the other for that. It's such a dumb, arbitrary timescale to add to a series that, had this ended in, June. Wouldn't have been a thing. Getting rid of the Ronin suit is just something that should have happened toward the beginning. Not, now. It should have happened after Endgame, not now. So, yeah, it just, a lot of what happened is, okay, well, why is this a thing that we have to deal with? What the fuck are you doing? What else do I have? I don't know. It's not even there's anything in this episode that's particularly interesting. They managed to make the return of Kingpin not interesting, because it's just kind of confusing, where it's look, they could have done something cool where it's here's how he got dusted, or here's how here's something else, or there are so many opportunities to do cool things, and then they just didn't do it. And I feel like the other thing that they did that was a bad idea was making Linda Cardinelli Mockingbird, because I think it almost certainly at this point we're not getting we're not getting Mockingbird in a movie. I think that's almost certain, because it's if they were going to do Mockingbird, wouldn't they just have done it by now? And it's where does this fit in? If this is the last episode for Hawkeye, just get over, motherfucker. If this is Hawkeye's last adventure, I mean, it's probably not. They're probably going to have him come back with something else in the future. But if this is it, and this is where we're ending off, then I feel like there's no room to do that. And it feels like they're being very selective in what they add over from S.H.I.E.L.D., because from the TV verse, because Mockingbird was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Bobby Morse, and she now she's not canon anymore, I guess, which is weird, because it was the first TV show to be acknowledged out of all of them. So yeah, I don't quite understand what was going on there. But at the end of the day, it's it feels like the character's just being, wasted. Where they could have done anything else with the character, and it just kind of feels like they had this idea of what they were going to do, and they were like, fuck it, we'll do that, and that's it. And then it's well, what about, going forward with this? What if we want to take this character forward in the future, or do something with her? Because there was a big push in the comics for her to do things. I think Gail Simone wrote it for a while. They had her for a bit, and they just didn't do it. So yeah, what else did really happen? It's like, Vera Farmiga was the bad guy, which probably we should have expected because she was the bad guy. Like, that's what she does now. So that's cool, I guess. Jack Duquesne is kind of a joke in this episode. The LARPers have too big of a role. And the thing is, too, I think that they forgot early on that this specific LARP convention was police and fire department. Which is kind of getting into this episode, kind of a big deal, considering they were acting as, security to an extent. Like, they were adding, additional support to, to Hawkeye, to the Hawkeyes, on the ground at the party. And it's like, well, yeah, why are they doing that? They don't need to be doing that. As these things, they could have just been police. And I understand why Marvel wouldn't use police now. Like, I understand it, but at the same time, don't introduce that as part of the group's lore or the group's, introduction. Like, oh, by the way, these are all police and fire department people. And then have that amount to nothing. Because, crowd control is what police and fire departments are meant to do. It just doesn't make sense to me that was introduced and then entirely ignored. And the thing is, too, it's there was an opportunity to do the button pressing with the thing that, Clint showed her earlier, and then it just didn't. So it's so that entire sequence was pointless then. And the thing is, too, they set themselves up with a scene where that could have been used, and then they just didn't use it. I don't know. It feels like this episode took a lot of bad decisions. Like I said, I think Kingpin will be back. I think it's ridiculous to assume that Kingpin is dead. I feel like that's not, after everything this character has gone through, and after everything that has happened with this nonsense, for him to come back for a very small in-a-picture cameo in one episode, and then have 3 scenes in this episode, and then to kill him off. And this is Wilson Fisk. I mean, he's regardless of the fact that he got 3 seasons or 2 seasons and 2 episodes on Daredevil, regardless of that, he also has he is one of the, if not the biggest, street level Marvel villain. He is the biggest bad guy that they have on the ground level. I think that it'd be a complete waste for them to just do that and then kill him off immediately. And again, I don't think they did, because the comic, they didn't do that. In the comic, that happens, and he actually does get shot in the face, and he's, he gets better. So yeah. So I feel like this is not a waste of time to watch. I don't want to say that, but it's an exercise in why do a series when you could do a movie, and the movie would have been a lot better and tighter. And I think that that's the problem with this, where it's really it's 4 or 5 hours, and it's this really could have just been 1 2-hour movie if you cut a lot out of it. And the thing is, too, it's you can't. It's not like you're cutting a lot and you're taking a machete to it, and it's oh God, that's not good. It's you're not doing enough cutting in pre-production if you're getting this outcome. So I think we'll wrap up there for today. Later today, whenever I leave work, I don't know when that will be. But whenever I leave work, I will record the episode based on the Matrix Resurrections. I do have thoughts on that as well. And It's not as bad as Kingsman, but it is not great. But we'll talk about that later today. So until then, have a great rest of your day.